that go live, that means we are live.
Yep, I'm waiting for it to pop up on my.
That'll be it. Got it. All right, guys, welcome aboard. I'm Johnny. That's the Greg, and this is our podcast. While you guys are liking, subscribing, sharing, Greg's going to talk to you about our partner, Audible.
Well, John, we are partnered with Audible.com, the Audible owned by Amazon. Also.com. They have hundreds of thousands of audiobooks and things for you to listen to during your commute, during your workout. During that time, you're just sitting at work doing data entry and you're bored as shit. You can just put on an audiobook or a podcast or anything.
Do that boring shit in a different world.
Just do it. Yeah. If you want to do that in Middle Earth, you can do that in Middle Earth.
That should be a shirt. Do it in Middle Earth.
Do it in Middle Earth. Yes. So if you would like to get 1 month free of Audible, courtesy of us, you could do that by going to audibletrial.com/JATG. You sign up. You don't have to commit. You can cancel at any time. If you like it after a month and you want to keep it, hey, that's on you. No problem. But you're going to get 30 days on us if you go to audibletrial.com/JATG.
Yeah, we should definitely write a shirt saying Johnny and Greg told us to do it in Middle Earth.
Yeah. Jenny and Greg say, do it in Middle Earth.
Yeah, definitely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to break down what we're going to do today. And the first thing we're going to talk about is that funny thing that happened to the NFL. There's a Super Bowl going on. There is, God, if you're an owner in the NFL right now, you might be a little bit nervous about what's coming down the pipe.
Yeah, you're definitely, you're probably checking your records.
Yeah.
Maybe burning some records, hiding some emails.
Especially if you happen to be a Miami Dolphins employee and or a Cleveland Browns owner or even a Redskins owner. I'm sorry, not the Redskins. Sorry. The Washington Commanders.
The Commanders.
Yes. That's old school, guys. That's just ingrained in my head. Redskins. I mean nothing from it.
Literally.
It's just
it is.
It's just been in my head since I've been born. Anyway, it's been rough being a NFL owner throughout
the week, John. Throughout the week, the owners took a beating.
With good reason.
Yeah,
good reason.
Very good reason.
Yeah, very good reason.
Why don't you break it down, John? What happened?
We actually will get into that, but I want everybody who is listening right now, I want you to start doing your homework. I want you to start thinking of all these TV shows, because after we're done talking about our NFL talk, we're going to slide in and we're going to start talking about Greg's top. What is this?
It's not Greg's. I picked it up off the internet, interwebs. Jeez, we're both having a night, aren't we?
Yeah.
It is the 10 show challenge. So that's what we're going to go into.
So just start railing in your head your favorite shows, the shows you didn't like, the shows you like that nobody else likes, the shows that everybody says are great and you think suck. Keep those in mind, because we're going to start going over those as soon as we're done with the NFL.
Yes.
Okay. So beyond a Super Bowl, there was
is that a thing?
Yeah, there was a lot of news coming down the pipe from the NFL this week. Let's see. Let's start it out with Brian Flores, who was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. He was fired, and there kind of started becoming this smear campaign of why he was let go, because it was strange he was let go. He went 1-7 and then reeled off, I believe it was 9 victories in a row.
Yeah.
And so when you do that, when you get everybody, when it looks really bad and you galvanize a team and you win 9 in a row, I'm guessing you're a pretty good coach. And they got rid of him, and he was trying to get the New York Giants job. So basically, long story short, the 2 candidates for the New York Giants were Brian Daboll. I'm going to have to say this because it is what it is. He's white. And Brian Flores, who's black. They both worked for Bill Belichick, who is the head coach of the New England Patriots. Okay. So Brian's sitting at his house one day. I'm talking about Brian Flores. He gets a text from Bill Belichick that says, "Hey, I talked to my sources. Congratulations. I heard you got the job." And he said, "Wow, that's great. That's all I want. I'm looking forward to it." And then Bill Belichick responded back, "Yeah, I talked to New York and to Hang on. I'm sorry. I think my dog just puked all over the floor. Hang on. No, we're good, Greg. Okay.
Okay.
Um, so basically going back to Bill Belichick, he said, I checked with my sources of New York and with Buffalo. You're good.
And the other guy's from Buffalo, right?
Yeah. And Brian Flores, who was the head coach of Miami, kind of went, wait a second now. And he said, hey, coach, are you talking to Brian Dayball or are you talking to Brian Flores? And then I guess there had to be that awkward pause when you realize, oh, shit, I texted the wrong person. Yeah.
What did you do? I fucked up.
Yeah. And so basically what happened was he found out what Brian Flores found out was that Brian Dayball already got the job.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just going in there to quote unquote fill an NFL rule.
Right. He still had an interview left. Like,
yeah.
So Belichick knew that the decision had been made.
Right.
Meanwhile, this guy's getting ready to fly to New York for an interview.
Yep. An interview for it when he realized it was just a sham or scam. That
Yeah.
Sham's the big word they're using. Excuse me. They're using right now. So,
well, yeah, I mean, they needed to give this guy the appearance of a fair shot per the league rules of like a diversity rule.
Right. Yeah.
But they had already made this decision. So he's like, I'm going up so they can check a box. Right.
Yeah.
And rightly so. He got pissed.
He got really pissed. I guess this hasn't happened to him before. This isn't the first time that this happened to him. And it's funny. It's not Bill Belichick's fault. Like he wasn't making a hiring. He was just trying to listen to the grapevine. And so he made the mistake of just writing a bad text. We've all done it. I'm sure if you guys think about times where you have sent out a text and you went, oh shit. I think the one time I did it was I sent out bank information to my sister about like my wife and our finances. And I was like, oh shit.
No takesy backsies.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so he's suing the NFL because basically for racism, honestly. And they got a good case. And I know there's a lot of people out there, and believe me, for a long time, I was one of them that was like, look, this isn't a race thing. You're making it a race thing just because it's just because they happen to pick a white guy as a head coach. Maybe they just wanted that guy. They thought he was a good coach and they wanted him. It's really the lack of opportunities that these other black coaches haven't even gotten. You know, and I mean, there is a huge problem. It's just a big problem. And Brian, good for him, man. He's probably never going to coach again in his life in the NFL, because once you sue the NFL, they don't take kindly to you.
Yeah, they don't like that so much.
Yeah.
And I've heard a couple different sides to this where
there are.
I think I heard one person, and I'm not going to name drop them, but they were like, so he wasn't the best man for the job. Like it's not a race thing. It's just he's not the best man for the job. It turns into a race thing when they had to bring him. They couldn't just say, hey, you know what? We're going to go with the other guy.
Right.
When they say, because you're black, we need to do another interview with you.
Right.
And when you take a look at around the league, there is a disproportionate number of white head coaches to black head coaches. And when you look at the league players, I got to tell you, it kind of swings the other way when it comes to black to white players.
Right.
So the guys that are really good at playing the game, I'm guessing know a lot about the game too. And, you know, I would think there would be a more even distribution in terms of number of coaches.
Yeah, you would think that, but I think, like you said, I think it stems from another buzzword lately is systemic problem. You know, there's not a lot of billionaire owners in the NFL that are black, and it's weird. It kind of feels
There's one.
There's
right?
not. No.
Oh,
there's Shad Khan. Shad Khan, I believe, is
he's Middle Eastern,
Egyptian or something like that. Or
okay, so there's
I'm not 100% sure where he's at, but
one person of color, but no
nobody else. So essentially, it's a billionaire white guys club. That's what it is. It is what it is.
It always has been.
Yeah, and these are billionaires who, if you've seen how they're acting lately, they are very much in their kingdoms looking down on the peasants. That's how they
Mhm.
look at their lives. And it's coming. I mean, it's becoming abundantly clear that that's how they look at life. Is
Mhm.
that I'm better than you. You don't need to talk to me. We can go all the way to there are some horrible rumors, and I'm going to say they're rumors, but they're in the lawsuit. So they're accusations, but
Yep.
they're not proven yet. For that, Brian Flores was told he'd get paid over a $100,000 per loss. I believe it was back in 2017 or 2018. Whenever the first year he got hired,
Mhm.
the owner
In
told
Miami.
him,
First
yeah,
year got
in
hired in
Miami, the owner told him that
Miami.
basically don't worry about winning this year. Like if you could lose, put us in a good position to get a first round draft pick, I'll give you a bonus.
Yeah.
And to coaches and players at that level, I know there's a lot of cynical people out there who think that they have no issue with that, but I find that hard to believe because these are ultimate competitors. These are people that
Mhm.
don't like to lose at like card games.
Right.
When it's their livelihood, they're not going to want to throw it on purpose.
It was interesting. I was talking with my mom actually this afternoon, and she's keeping track of this, and so is my dad. And she brought up, and I've heard her say this, like we'll be watching a football game. It's usually a Packer game. I don't know if the Packers are in this list, but it makes you wonder sometimes where your team or another team is just down. Uh, and it's like they stop trying. And not that the players are stop trying. I mean, you see it on the Monday morning armchair quarterback stations, ESPN, everything else. Why would the coach make that decision? Why would he not kick a field goal? Why would he do a running play as opposed to a pass play? Why would he do a quarterback draw in this situation? All that kind of stuff. And mom would say, I think they're just being paid to lose at this point. My dad's like, no, they can't do that because he's very much like you, saying, nope, these are competitors. Absolutely not. They won't do that.
Right.
And I think they're both right. The players wouldn't,
Right.
but the coaches might. And
I can't say no to that. I'd hate to think that. I'd
yeah.
hate to think that.
Now, in
And
some ways, it is just stupid coaching. Like we
right.
saw with like Mike McCarthy that it's just
Well,
this
hey,
guy
Matt Nagy
can't coach. Yeah.
Matt Nagy, a guy was coaching for his job. And maybe there's something to say about pressure. Look, pressure can make you do things you never thought you would do.
Right.
It could make you make choices you never thought you would make. So I can't argue with that. I can't argue with your mom that she's wrong. I can't like, especially the stuff you're hearing now.
Right.
If this stuff is true. And the other one is another prominent coach named Hugh Jackson also said, hey, I stand by Brian Flores. I have proof that we were doing that in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And
So
it's like, whoa.
It really becomes, I mean, it's two separate issues. The Venn diagrams have some crossover. You got the race issue, right?
Right.
You got the race issue, and that's bad.
Right.
Where there's not enough black coaches, they're not given shots.
Right.
And then you've got this paid to lose thing where, that's in itself, I think, a form of cheating. And because you're trying to cheat the system so you get a better draft pick.
Right.
Some people would call it strategy, and I'm like, I don't know. So then
it's definitely strategy, but we'll go into that in a minute. Go ahead.
So then you've got that happening.
Yeah.
But here's where the rub really comes in. And you brought this up in the talk that we had earlier in the week, that with these black coaches, if you're a black head coach and you lose your head coaching job, the odds of you getting another head coaching job are like single digits. Like no one is going to hire another. And it seems the data would show this, a black head coach that just came off of a terrible losing season.
Yes.
And now when you add into that, I was paid to lose. I was paid $100,000 or more a game to lose.
Yeah.
And then after you do what the owner's telling you to do, essentially your boss, you get fired. And then your chances of ever becoming a head coach again in the NFL are slim to none.
Right. And because the first thing people do is when they find out who their new head coach is, they go to what they did before and what's their record. And so
How
even
did
in
they
public
do?
opinion, you're going to look at how they did and you're going to go, oh, damn, they didn't win a game. But it's not
Right.
because, but going back, Brian Flores was, his accusation was that he was told that. He said no to that. He said, I am not doing that. And he won 5 games. And that, I guess, started the crack in the foundation between ownership and the head coach.
Okay.
So that's why there was such a smear campaign, in my opinion, for that coach. Here's the problem I think that is starting to happen in the NFL. In the NBA, there used to be a situation where people would tank for a reason because they wanted to get a draft pick that could elevate their franchise for the next 10 years. That is a strategy. In the NFL, the problem is in sports, in my opinion, big sports, I'm looking for the word. Basically, we reward people for losing. Hey, if you lose really bad, you get the best player next year.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Okay.
So we are help me out with that word.
Incentivizing.
Yes.
We're
Losing.
incentivizing loss.
Yes, we are. And I think when you do that, it can force somebody to sit there and go, look, we're in that sticky situation this year where we're not good enough to make the playoffs, but we're not good enough to lose. And so we're going to stay here in this situation where we're not going to get the quarterback that's going to change our future. Let's just lose all the games. That way we for sure get the first round quarterback. And we're on our way. And that is a strategy. I think it's a horrible strategy. I think it should be changed. I think we're at that age or at that time period now in the NFL where we should change that. That should be changed. Maybe the team that just missed the playoffs, they get the first round pick. Or because we're incentivized, we're rewarding people for losing.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but at its heart, it should work. I mean, I understand that it's not, but at its heart, it should work.
It did for a very long time.
So that's why I'm like, I don't know if I'd want like the team that just missed the playoffs. Maybe they get, I don't know what I would do.
I don't know what I would do either. That was just a thought that just popped in my head at this.
So there is one more angle to this that we talked about earlier in the week that we haven't brought up yet.
Okay.
And that is, I think you said the Miami Dolphins owner just bought a shit ton of stock in a betting website.
Oh, I think he actually spearheaded it. Like
he spearheaded it. So it's his thing. So here we have an owner.
Yeah. Stephen Ross, by the way.
Stephen Ross, who now owns a sports book, which is where you place bets on sports, including the NFL.
Yep.
And he has now been accused of telling his head coach to lose games so they get better players. But over here, you're going to tell me that betting thing isn't in the background, like he doesn't have some kind of inside track on it. That is so messed up.
That is messed up.
If that guy is still an owner next year,
I don't. If it's found true, I don't see how he can be an owner.
The deep-seated corruption in the NFL is ridiculous.
Yes, I mean it really is. It's 32 very powerful rich men that don't care.
The only way to really change a system, John, would be for you and me and the millions of people that are able to listen to this podcast, that we stop watching the NFL.
Right. No,
don't buy it. Don't buy any more football stuff.
No, I'm excited about my Bears. Finally, I have to watch them.
Don't watch games. Don't buy the products that are advertised during the commercials of those games.
Yeah,
that's how you're going to see change, John. And it's not going to happen.
Or you bring them to light and you make it extremely uncomfortable.
You
don't think that'll work?
Not for rapid change. No, I mean for rapid change, you need drastic measures, and nothing is going to be drastic.
They would need
enough
their
for
well to dry up.
Yeah,
their money grab the drive. And look, man, it's not going to happen. I am going to watch the Super Bowl next Sunday. I'm going to watch every Chicago Bear game and any other game that happens next year.
Right.
I'm just not going to stop. I know what you're getting at, and you're right, but.
The only way you want to see massive change happen in billionaire-run companies is to take away their their wealth, take away their
Yeah,
money. And then they're like, oh shit, so we got to do something.
Yep.
No,
Yep.
no. And it's got to be a big enough dent. I mean, if you tell a billionaire, be like, hey, gross products down 500 grand, they don't give a shit. That's like, nobody cares.
Right.
I blow that at a strip club.
Well, not only that, the commissioner who's going to be leading the investigation. Don't forget, people, the commissioner is employed by those 32 owners. Don't forget that. Okay. So anyway, we're not going to solve it today. I'm not going to beat a dead horse anymore about it, but it's just, if these things come out true, that's real damaging. And those 2 owners should be gone.
Anybody who's got ideas on how to fix the system,
there you go.
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. And then let the NFL know.
Yep. Love to know.
Yeah. But hey, I'll throw it out to you right now. If anybody can think of a better way to not reward losing the way the NFL does. And I get it. The thing that made the NFL so popular was it was parity. Take our Cincinnati, I'm going to say our Cincinnati Bengals, but take the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
They were 4-12 last year. They're in the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
That can happen to any team. And I think that is what makes the NFL such a well,
and every draft works this way, right? The NFL or the NBA draft?
If you miss the playoffs in the NBA, depending on what your seed, I don't know if they've changed this since I last paid attention to it, but they, like, if you were the bottom 3, you had more ping pong balls put into a lottery system than the person that just barely missed the playoffs. And then the ping pong system would come up, whoever get that. If you were lucky enough, you got that.
Yeah, I can.
But
the worse you
the worse you lose, in the NBA, the more ping pong balls
chances you have. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never once watched an NBA draft, so I couldn't even tell you how they work.
But I do know that's how pretty much the draft works in Major League Baseball. I'm pretty sure that's how it works in hockey as well. That the worst team gets the best player next year.
Okay.
So, but anyway, I just thought that was an interesting way to look at it, was that, hey, we're teaching people, like we're rewarding people for losing, which should never be the goal.
Yeah. Does soccer have a draft? Do you know? Soccer?
I don't know.
People?
I don't consider that an American top 4 sport.
Well, it's not, but it is the biggest sport in the world.
I have no idea how they handle that. I don't know.
Because I hear about like European soccer teams, they will grab a kid or a player at like 16 and say, hey, you're awesome. Why don't you come finish school over here while you train with us, play for us?
Right.
And that's a whole different, I mean, can you imagine if the NFL could start grabbing kids out of high school?
The college people do that. There's people that have been 12 years old and they have a scholarship ready for them.
Well, sure, but I mean, the NBA could, or the
NBA,
the NFL could do it. No, the NBA
they have
cannot,
the year. They have one year.
They can grab them out of after they finish high school. That's Kobe Bryant. He never went to college.
But they changed that rule. It's called the one and done rule, which means you have to have at least 1 year.
Got to take a gap year.
Yeah.
Basically. Interesting.
It is.
Okay.
Speaking of awesome, Jack Reacher, the show is on Amazon Prime. It dropped. Yep. When did it drop, Greg? I thought it dropped Friday. You were talking about it Thursday, so that made me go, what?
Yeah, I started watching it, I think, on Thursday.
Wow. Okay. So oh my God, it's awesome.
Very good.
It is
very
such a
good
throwback to 1980s stuff.
Now, here's what I'm going to say.
Go for it.
I love it. I love every aspect of it. Is it Rob? Oh gosh, damn it! I had his name.
Alan
Richardson.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Alan Richardson is killing it. I mean, he is carrying that show very well. All the actors are good. I'm not going to say that he's carrying it like on his own, but as a lead, he can hold a show like that. That's always the thing. If you have a lead character that can actually, carry the show for how many episodes. Right. He's a great reacher. Mm-hmm. We're reading the internet divide that has happened this week between fans of the book and fans of the Tom Cruise films.
Okay.
And it has just divided like their fandom a little bit. With the author of the books securely landing in the TV show saying Tom was good. I mean, he's not going to complain about Tom,
right.
but this guy, Richardson is a much more fitting Jack Reacher.
Yeah. Well, if you read in the books how they describe this guy, that's him. That's him right there.
No, yeah. From what I understand, he's supposed to be like 6'6", nothing
6'5",
but muscle.
250, chiseled.
Yeah.
He's a Greek god walking around. Yes.
With like borderline autism. Just like how he handles situations. And I didn't get that from the Tom Cruise films at all. Richardson is doing that well. Just like that single-minded,
just a laser focused. Yes.
And
I don't know if I go with the autism thing, but I think he is singularly focused and he's laser locked in.
It's a great show.
Yes.
It's the thing. I'm going back to what I was going to say before I said what I said I was going to say. This is the thing I was going to say. It's not like breaking any new ground in terms of like a detective show or an action show. It's a great story with great actors that are
watched
just
all the way through, so don't spoil it yet.
Me neither.
Okay.
That are doing that formula very, very well. Is what I'm going to say.
Yes.
So don't look for anything that you haven't seen before in other shows.
Right.
But pick some of the best things you've seen in other shows, mash them together, and that's what you're going to get.
Yes. I will say the only thing I will say that has me now, I understand when I say it's it has the flavor of the 80s action hero. There's a lot of unbelievable stuff that happens there. And then there's some stuff that's not. And the only part that I feel is really unbelievable is there's this real, and I'm not spoiling anything here, guys, so you don't have to worry about this. But in the first episode, within literally 5 seconds of the show, our lead character hasn't said a word yet. And I believe this couple comes out and the guy's really pissed off because she over tipped the waitress.
Yeah,
she's really mad at him. And if you see this guy's a natural, just a regular old average Joe. And but he's showing a lot of hostility towards his girlfriend.
The woman. Yeah, like had her up backed against the truck.
Yeah. Slams his hand right next to her to scare her, intimidation tactic, dickhead. And he turns around and looks at Reacher. Now, guys, Reacher is 6'5", 250, solid muscle. Okay. He's a gorilla. Turns around and he goes, "What are you looking at? You're never going to say that to that guy." That's not going to happen.
Right.
There are a couple of times there's a prison fight, I believe, but there is another one where he's going back to his hotel and it's like 4 or 5 like 20-year-old guys come up to him and they're there to beat him up. And I'm thinking to myself,
that was actually in the preview too.
Yeah. I was thinking, you're not going to beat up this guy. Like, what are you thinking? That's my only problem. I liked with Tom Cruise, there was believability and a little bit of coolness to the fact that there's no way this short little guy is going to kick all of our asses and he will annihilate you. And what I like about Reacher's style, and I'm talking about the character, and I'm so glad they got this right in both the TV show and the movies, is his fight style is brutally efficient and very fast. He's there to put you down quick. He's not there to show off or anything of that nature. He's down to when he puts you down, like when he hits you, it's intended to break something so you rethink your positioning.
Yep.
And I just love I was a big fan of both the Tom Cruise movies. And I think that was a small little part that nobody thought of, was that I think a lot of people would think they could beat up Tom Cruise. And I'm talking about the way he looks. I think Tom Cruise in reality is like 5'9".
I don't even think he's that.
Okay, he's like me. Okay, let's just say he's 5'8", $150. I'm betting.
I want to say he's like 5'4".
Oh, you want to say shorter?
Oh yeah. He is famously short, but I'm going to look it up.
Okay. Well, my point is,
continue.
That is when you see that he's surrounded by 5 guys, and these 5 guys are average people. An average person could probably think in a life or death situation, I could probably
Mhm.
beat up a 5'8", 150-pound man. And what's great about that is that you were wrong with this guy. You know, so but that's my only problem with this show is that sometimes there's average people walking up to this gorilla and like thinking they can scare him or fight him, and that's the only thing. Like, how
So,
often are you even approached, Greg, in a fight? How often?
you know, not often. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Is that is not he is 5'7".
Okay.
So he's 3 inches shorter than my wife. The
She's 2 inches shorter than Ursula.
yeah,
That's
and
a short
probably
man.
probably about her frame too, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. I would agree.
So being a bigger guy, you still get like there are guys that still look at you and eye you up when you walk into places.
Right.
And then there are some people that even, and I've talked about this on the show before, even in like high school or something like that, where little guys would just want to fight you.
The Napoleon complex.
It's not even a Napoleon thing. It's just like there's an overconfidence to it. Like people really don't know how much size matters in a fight.
Okay.
And I remember again, my dad who taught me some things. He warned me one time. He's like, if you want to fight this guy, you just need to be very aware that you could injure him. Like you're big enough that if you put your weight behind a punch, if you really get into it with somebody, you can injure them. And are you ready for that kind of thing?
Yeah.
So that's something to think about. By the way, how tall do you think Alan Richardson is?
6'2". I looked it up.
Yeah, he's 6'2".
Yeah,
which
6'2".
is all right.
Yeah, but he's
fit. Oh, he's a fit boy.
But
absolutely.
the thing is with 6'2" in movies, you do look 6'5" because most actors are very short.
I mean, I'm about 6'3" ish. And I've seen myself on camera compared to a guy who, gosh, I think Simon is. I don't know if Simon if he's breaking 6 feet, it's just breaking 6 feet. Right. And I saw it was a shot of him. It was from his back perspective, and I have to walk up, and I'm literally meant to be there to rough this guy up. Mm-hmm. It's a picket line situation, and he's crossing the picket line. So I'm one of the protesters, one of the picketers. I'm on strike, and he walks up, and I go up and I push him, and I got to see the daily of that, and I was like, "Damn, I look huge." I mean, it's really the camera angle and everything.
I don't think me so much anymore, but Ursula used to tell me that I think people our size, and including your brother, we don't realize it because we carry ourselves every day. We don't realize that we could be quite intimidating to other people, and we have no idea.
Right. And especially where we live in the upper Midwest, it is a lot of Scandinavian stock, Northern Europeans. I mean, we're just grown bigger.
Right.
And I mean, it's just in the DNA. When I started to travel, I went down to Texas, and where they have a different set of ancestry. And I was like, I was head and shoulders above everybody.
Try to go to Japan.
I've heard that. I've heard when you go to Japan and like everybody's like barely up to your shoulder.
Yeah. If you're actually watching the show, have you noticed when Reacher's actually just walking around everywhere?
Yeah.
He just looks like he came literally out of a comic book. He sticks out like such a sore thumb.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt in Japan.
That's interesting.
Yeah, just walking around like that, and everybody was like,
"Well," and that's was when I was in Texas. You're walking around San Antonio, you walk into a shop, and everybody's like, "Hey, big feller!" Like,
right?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, right. So that's my only problem. Do you tend to agree with what I'm saying? There is that like I just can't see the people they were getting to pick fights with him. I was like, dude.
Some of them, but some of them
not going to do that.
Some of these guys are supposed to be like hired hitmen. I mean, the teenagers like that you see, like the 20-somethings that are,
and he's like, their car drinking beer.
And he's like, guys, you are 2 cases of beer in.
Yeah,
this is not a good idea. And he's always trying to warn people off. Like, you don't want to do this, giving them chances.
That was one of my favorite things with him is when he will sit there and literally tell you, like, get out of my face or you won't have one left.
Yeah.
When he like, I love when he does that. I just watched the scene in the movie with Tom Cruise because the character is the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's just one's extra large, the other one
No, right.
is
Yep.
yes. Or I should say this in Starbucks terms. One is large, the other one is Trenta
Venti.
or Vente.
Venti.
Yeah.
He's Venti.
Yeah. No, there's one bigger than that. It's the one I always get. Trenta. That's the biggest cup you can get.
There's something bigger than Venti?
Yeah. Trenta.
I don't go to Starbucks that often. So.
Yeah.
Huh. I gotta try that.
Anyway.
Next time I'm getting my hot chocolate.
Jack Reacher
Starbucks.
in the TV show is Trenta. And it's just funny how
it is.
But I love how the character will sit there and just like if you want to watch a really good, the first Jack Reacher one with Tom Cruise was really good.
I really did. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. When he's like, how do you figure it's 5 against 1? He's like, it's 3 against 1.
Yeah. And
he breaks that down.
The leader comes out. I assume that's you.
Right. And he goes through this. And right before they're about to fight, he's like, remember, you wanted this.
You asked for this. Like, yep.
Or how he'll say something like, all right, if you want to go outside and fight, pay the bill first. He's like, I'll pay later. He goes, you won't be able to.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's, I just love that shit. Okay.
Yeah. That level of confidence. Now, we're talking a lot about Alan Ritchson, who is doing an amazing job. Yes. I do want to bring up the other performers in the film or in the show. Willa Fitzgerald, who's playing Roscoe, the female cop.
Okay. Yeah.
She's doing
really
a great job.
Yeah.
A great job. Has a level of confidence around her as well that she doesn't back down from him. And I thought that, I mean, her bedside manner in the beginning where, she's like, this guy really isn't a threat. We don't have to worry about him. But at the same time, when she's got to turn it on, she's like, no, I will mess you up.
Right.
I think he's doing really good. And then Malcolm Goodwin as Finley, the detective.
Yes, very good.
I think I'm not far enough into it yet. I think we're on episode 5. So we've got 3 more left. I think there's something in him that if he lets loose will be fun to see.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
I
think we got 3 more left. There's Boston. 8 episodes. We got 3 left. Yeah.
So we're on the same spot. So that's been good.
Yeah. All right, let's play our game today. I hope you guys, you audience have been thinking about these TV shows you've been watching, past and present. Greg's going to start.
So I went through and I, flipping through social media, and then there's something that was called the 10 movie challenge. And so I was like, this will be a fun little podcast topic. So we're going to go through 10 films, different topics for each one.
Movies or TV shows?
Shows. I'm sorry.
Okay.
10 show challenge. And the first one is the show that ended perfectly. You watch the whole series, and the way it ended, it was like, that was great. I'm done. No
masterpiece.
Notes.
Yes. Masterpiece.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I had a hard time with this one.
You are picky.
I am picky, and I landed on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Fudge. I almost went there with that.
I think the way it ended, it was good. The show was done. I mean, there wasn't any stories left to tell, really.
Right.
And just the way they left it off, the move, the whole thing, I was like, that was nice. It was a nice little closing.
Yeah. I've heard MASH, but I've never
MASH
seen
was
it.
Good.
I heard that ended very well.
Sad, but well.
What's that?
It was sad, but it was done well.
Right. Yeah. The one I'm gonna have to say, because I was anticipating it, I was waiting for it. I thought Breaking Bad ended well. I was fine with it. I thought, okay, we're good, we're done. This is all
interesting. A lot of people don't feel that way about that show. They want more, and they've done more. They did
wanting more.
They did a Jesse.
Right. Yeah. El Camino.
Film.
We watched it on Netflix. It was really good.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then Better Call Saul is technically a spinoff, but
it's a spinoff. But what I'm saying is, if people want more, then you probably ended well.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
All right. Feel free to type in
pop
your,
on in.
Yeah.
So the second one, here we go, is the show that ended horribly. Like, you got to the end and you went, that was not good. That sucked.
Yeah.
There's one show that definitely came up on people's lists a lot.
I bet you I can guess it.
Go ahead.
Lost?
No.
No,
but that a couple people did have that. Like
then
Lost
right
was
have to go with the number one, of course, was Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones was
Yes.
absolutely when I looked at people's lists, and I looked at a lot of lists. Yeah, everybody, a lot of people had Game of Thrones because they were just so disappointed in the ending.
Yes, of course. They built us up for 7 years, and all of a sudden, what?
And
Bran?
boom. Yeah. That's the guy.
Yeah,
That can't
that's
be
the
the
guy.
guy.
That's the guy.
I went with How I Met Your Mother. Like
that's a big one too, and
that show
sucked.
just
did
not end well. And
No,
there's so many good people in that show that deserved better. Like,
yes,
I don't know if in that last couple seasons, if they're like reading the scripts, just like, really, okay, well, I'll say the lines because you pay me to.
Right.
But yeah, that was one that
I agree with you on that one. That ended horribly. Yeah, I think that's all right. That's
good. That's good.
Yeah.
Number 3, the show. I'm with my notes right. The show that had the most potential, but they didn't quite hit the mark. Like it was, you were pumped up about it. They had a, good cast, good story. Here we go, and then it just fell flat.
God, where do I start? I mean, there's a lot of shows like that, right? I mean, I could name Lost is one of them for sure. Another good one was the first 2 seasons of Arrow were really good, and then it got just dumb.
Mine was The Flash. Like The Flash, I thought ton of potential. I was never invested really in anybody in that show.
Yeah,
like it really fell flat from season 1. Now I watched the first 6 seasons as it's going to be good. It's going to be. Here we go.
Yeah.
Like okay, here we go. And every episode was Barry's like, here's the bad guy, and the Barry's like, I'm not fast enough. I can't do it. I'm not fast enough. And then something would happen, and like, I am fast enough. And then we go on to next week.
Yeah.
So yeah,
can I do a hot take? Hot take here.
Sure.
The Book of Boba Fett.
Oh my God. I thought we were going to save that for a different time, but okay. Yes. That's holy shit. Shit. Just,
well, we won't have to go into it. I'm just thinking they had so much there.
It's a whole nother topic. We could do a whole show itself.
We probably will.
So much potential wasted.
You know what? I'll just tell you, I'll just say this before we move on. What made me realize that was when the Mandalorian popped in.
It's when fan service goes bad. That was the Book of Boba Fett. Like, we're going to do this for the fans and fuck it up. I mean, just, oh my God, we got to move on because we're going to go off.
All right, let's go.
Okay. Number 4, the show that was criminally underrated. Like, you recommend this show to everyone. It was that good, but just never really seemed to hit with the general public.
What do you got? Because I couldn't figure this out.
You didn't do your homework?
I did my homework. I just couldn't figure this out.
I've got a couple. So the one that Mindhunter on Netflix is it's the story of the first FBI criminal profilers.
Okay.
If you like serial killers, if you like kind of dark crime kind of stuff, that's a great one. The second one I came up with, and Mindhunters is done. You can go watch both seasons and enjoy that. The one that's still on, and I struggled with this one with another category that we're going to get to. But it's on the CW. It's called Motherland Fort Salem.
Oh,
have you watched any of this? It's on Hulu if you haven't.
No.
It looks preposterous. Like, and even it takes a little bit. I'd say the first half of season 1 takes a little for you to really kind of dig in and start to like it. But once it started to hit with me, it was good. It's a alternate history where in the Salem witch trials, rather than burn all the witches, the founding fathers went, wait, there's something here. We can use this as a military advantage. And it turns out witchcraft it's not even witchcraft. They have more or less like superpowers. It's not demonic. They're not doing demons. They just know how to
create fire.
They know how to use their voice to create fire, like in such a way they hit these tones. And it was just really cool and very creative,
very unique taste,
very unique. Their main weapon of choice it's kind of like a whip, but it's like a retractable whip. I mean, it's just very different. and it's enjoyable, and the characters were compelling, and there's political intrigue going on, and you're like, wow. So yeah, that's my one that I recommend to people that are looking for something new.
I recommend the Nevers.
The Nevers, yeah.
But you and I agree on a lot on the Nevers. I can't get anybody else to jump on board with that. I don't know why.
It's a tough one. It's
and
a tough
it
one.
Worries me because I feel like I'll never see it again then.
You might not. I mean,
yeah.
I've read that they're coming out with a season 2, and I've read that it's dead in the water. So I don't know.
Yeah.
The actors from that show, you can go find them on other things.
Oh,
and that's sometimes the death knell.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, because it's an HBO show and they film it like in these like super chunks, like we're gonna do this and then they go away. So
I just had one. Okay.
That you recommend.
I recommend it to people, and I know why not a lot of people want to watch it. Young Justice.
Oh, yeah.
It's really good.
Very good.
But it's really hard to get anybody to actually sit down and watch it because a lot of people I know can't get past, well, it's a cartoon.
It's an animated show. They can't get past that.
By the way, people on video watching me, if I'm looking over here, I was like in a zone. I was pretending someone was here.
Right.
Go ahead.
You're pretending that the ignorant Americans are over there where they're
right
like,
there.
It's cartoons. I'm an adult. And you're like, fuck you. Just watch it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So that was number 4. Number 5, the show that people recommend to you, but you can't get into it. You don't.
Here we go.
I had a list.
Me too. Go.
Number 1.
I'll go. You go.
Okay. Breaking Bad.
Breaking.
I know for some people it's like it's the best show ever, and I'm like,
it's up there. It's up there. That's all right. That's okay.
Not for me.
Outlander. Can't get into that damn thing.
That's a little bit different. Black Mirror.
Okay, I can see that. I know a lot of people that would be like, "What?" But I can see that. I can completely see that. The Sopranos.
Okay, yeah, that was a tough one.
I just cannot get into that damn thing.
You know what? That could have been on my list too. I
have tried 5 separate times, like
to get into that show.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
The one that you keep hitting me up with, the Ozarks.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought you watched. You can't do it, huh?
Well, it will be on in my house. Like Krista is like enraptured with it. She's watching it, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm on my phone. I'm doing other things. I'm
okay. It just doesn't grip. Yeah.
All right. I just don't watch it.
Wow. The one that Ursula and I have tried again and again and again, and we can't get into it. Dexter.
Yeah, they have serial killer.
Yeah, I just
serial killer is a good guy.
I loved Silence of the Lambs, and I loved the character Hannibal Lecter, which I don't know if that says something good or bad about me, but I love that character. I was like, oh, cool. This sounds like a really cool, interesting twist on it. Like he's kind of a superhero or he's a bad guy that kills bad guys.
Yeah.
And I can't get into that. Goddamn. I can't. Yeah. I'm like, this is horrible.
I couldn't get into that one either.
I feel like the acting's even ridiculously bad. But
yeah.
I can't get into it.
So here's one that people rave about, like to the point, and it's coming to an end this season. But I'm just not into it. This Is Us.
Yeah, I can see that. I think the problem with me with that, because I agree with you. I want to get into that. I just can't.
I have no people are like, it's so good. I cry every episode. Why would I want to cry every episode? I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound like good TV to me.
Yeah. I watched the first episode and I thought I had a cool twist. I was like, oh, he's the baby. And they adopted. Okay, cool. That's cool. And then after that, I'm just like, I'll show that has been recommended to me by my TV. As How I Met Your Father.
That's Hulu's big. They're making a push.
Yeah.
Well, and the one thing that was great about How I Met Your Mother, especially in that beginning, is that it was our generation. I mean, it was late 20s, early 30s, and we got all the jokes, we got all the references. I mean, it was us. This How I Met Your Father is for people that are currently in their late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm not there.
And I think that's you're right. That's
and maybe it's great. I haven't watched a single episode. Maybe it's great. Maybe
I watched the first one. I was like, it was.
Well, say maybe I'll get it, but I'm not. I've got a bunch of other stuff I want to watch right now. That's not on the list. All right. A couple comments. Mary said she loved The Sopranos. Good. And I'm not being mean.
I know you're not.
I'm
I
in
know.
there
It's
too. I watched like a couple episodes. I did do a little run where I would catch it and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Oh, this is pretty good. And then I did something else would happen. I'm like, I have no idea what's happening. Click.
right.
Because I wasn't into it.
I just can't get into it.
Love Mad Men, but nobody else does. We're gonna get into that one. That one's coming up on a list later for me. But again, I hear it's a great show. I don't want to get too much over there. Where were we at? That was number 5. Number 6, the show you constantly defend to your friends. Like they're like, why are you watching that show? And I'm like, because it's so good. You don't get it. So a couple for me. One that came up is the Canadian sitcom Letterkenny.
I can see that.
Ton of fans up there, but for some reason in my circles, when I'm like, new season of Letterkenny came out, did you guys watch it? They're like, no, I'm 6 seasons behind. I'm like, oh. And you just, they don't care. I mean, it's not enough for them. And I kind of see it because there were some seasons where you're like, that running gag was way too long. But there's six episodes a season, so you can get through them pretty quick. But there's not enough laughs for people to sit down and
I think
really make it work.
I have 2. The Workaholics. Do you remember that show?
Was that a British show?
No.
Oh, no. It's the guy with the curly red hair and the mustache.
Yes.
Yeah, the guy from I don't know his name, but he's from Pitch Perfect. The short guy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that show, but I knew I was watching I was like, this
one's for me.
Yeah, this one's for me, basically. Yeah, for sure. I forgot what the other one was when I just said I had 2 of them because it's on the same level of that. Oh, Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
See, and that's on my list to watch, and I'm so far, like they're in season 12.
You might have to watch that backwards almost.
Really?
The reason I say that is because you have to travel back in like to 2004 to get the climate then, because they attack shit they're so raw. Yeah, they attack everything.
I remember I did turn on the first episode because my kids are a little bit older. I'm like, well, maybe like this, it'll be like a family show, and then went, nope,
no,
family show.
It's not a family show.
Quickly learned that lesson.
Yeah.
The other one I had on this list, which is also not a family show, is Hulu's The Great. Did you watch that?
No. It's good.
Story of Catherine the Great.
Oh, okay.
Coming into Russia and then formulating a coup and taking Russia away from Peter the Great. And they say, even in the opening credits, it's The Great, a sometimes historically accurate show. Okay. So, like, when you read the story of like the coup in Russia and Catherine the Great taking over, it's very different. But I think the performances are good. The costumes are great. It's funny in parts. It's got some drama in parts, but like every time I sit down to watch it, my wife rolls her eyes. So,
okay.
Anyway. Okay, so that was number 6. Number 7, the show you loved as a kid that is disappointing now. So you loved it growing up.
Thunder, Cats.
So yeah, there's like a whole block of like action cartoons from our childhood.
Yep.
You know, and we even talked about them a couple shows ago, but like Thundercats, Silverhawks, G.I. Joe, Mask, you know, they don't hold up. They were literally cartoons that were made to sell toys.
Yes.
Which when you're 9 doesn't register. You're like, this is an action-packed cartoon.
I can't get detention because Thundercats are on at 3:30 and I have to get there.
And each show had a moral lesson in it, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And then you find out they were just trying to get your money.
Oh God. Yeah. But I think that was every show in my childhood was that.
Well, and like, shows you loved as a kid but are disappointing now. I mean, we're talking like 80 shows at that point. But even like Knight Rider doesn't hold up for me. Airwolf does not hold up for me.
Airwolf, Jesus. You know what doesn't hold up for me, and I used to love it? Werewolf. Doesn't hold up.
Yeah,
anymore.
it doesn't really hold a
No,
candle.
no.
You even go back and you watch some of those early episodes of The Simpsons.
Oh yeah, really bad.
Yeah, not
Really bad. Really bad.
I mean, they're great at the time, but they just don't hold up over time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So number 8 is the show that is absolute trash, but you love it anyway.
I got 2 of them.
Okay.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah, that's trash.
Number 1. Number 2 is The Challenge. MTV's The Challenge. It's literally trash. They put a bunch of people in a bunker, basically, give them all the alcohol in the world, all the food you want. No,
these
TV,
are pretty
no
people,
phones.
right?
Huh?
They're all pretty people, right?
They're well, yeah. Now they are. They're all pretty people. They're all people that were used to be like. Remember when MTV used to do The Real World?
Sure. Yeah. So they're reality stars.
Yeah, they took those reality stars, they put them in there, and they give them a challenge, and it lasts like for like this is like the 30. I think Ursula and I watched the last 32nd season of this show.
Yeah. Oh my God.
We are just dialed into this every single time it's on. We just love it, and it's horrendous. It's horrendous. I'm almost embarrassed to admit I'm right now that I love the MTV The Challenge.
Well, we got a fan on, Mary, who said she watches it too, so you're in good company.
Oh, Mary, I'm telling you, there's just something about that show that you just can't stop watching it. And
yeah,
we will pause and argue. Like, what I mean by argue, like me and her are never like against each other, but we're like, okay, he's being an asshole right now because he's just jealous, and that we just go back and forth. And it's a weird little thing that Ursula and I do that almost creates our bond. It's so weird.
But you guys were into that, like those weird reality shows. Like you watched Naked and Afraid too, didn't you?
That's awesome.
No,
that's not weird. That's awesome.
No, it is weird.
I'm into like the survival. No, what's weird is when they tried to make it a dating show. Got weird.
That's very weird.
That's weird.
For me, the show that's absolute trash that we watch anyway is Teen Wolf. When that was on, we were there.
God, it never made sense.
It doesn't. It is a trash show. It has produced a couple good actors.
Yes.
But for the most part, it is a trash show.
Oh.
It almost went into the same category as shows that you were into that did not end well. And that show did not end well because one of their main and best actors was in a car accident on another or in a bad stunt or something. A stunt that went bad on a film. He was in The Maze Runner.
Yes. What's his name? Dylan
O'Brien. Dylan O'Brien.
Yeah. Great actor.
He really good,
him.
really good.
I like
my absolute number one pick for Nightwing. I mean, absolutely, he would kill it in that role.
Yeah,
but he got hurt, couldn't film the last season, so they like wrote him out, and it just sucked.
Oh, it's horrible. He was carrying that show.
He absolutely was.
Yes.
But it was a trash show that we watched every bit of. So
yeah. Okay.
The show that had you hooked at first, you were so locked in, and then after a couple of seasons, it just lost you.
The Walking Dead.
I was
like, just die already, all of you. Like, this is just, come on.
There was even one whole season that I know eventually got dubbed The Talking Dead because all they did is talk. There were no zombies in the entire season. It was
I can't remember what that was, but
it was the season after we had actually dropped off. So I think it was like 4 or 5.
Okay.
So that was definitely a show that had lost us. So I agree with you on that. Fringe. Do you remember Fringe on Fox?
I do. That was, God, what a good show in the beginning.
Great show. Had and still great actors that were great actors through the entire show, but the script just started to suck. I mean, there was this whole reality hopping thing that they were doing
back and forth, right?
You didn't really know
who's really from the other dimension, and it got weird.
Josh Jackson is a very good actor.
Yes, he is.
I want to see him in like a big budget thing. He's mostly a TV guy, but
another show that I thought was horrendous, or that Supernatural.
After 15 years, come on.
I mean, I was just like, okay, I can't.
And you're right. It's a trash show, but the people were in it were good. They love the characters.
Yeah.
And that fan base. Can't beat that.
There was a time that Ursula and I think we watched it. I think we binged it for like this is before we had our daughter. We binged it like for I think all of winter one year.
Sure.
We're like, wow, what a great show, amazing. Like, and then I'm like, hey, it's still on. Do you want to watch? She's like, no. I'm like, yeah, me neither. I don't.
Do you know they're coming out with a prequel series?
Who for Sam and Dean?
No, it's Sam and Dean's parents being monster hunters. They're going to recast Sam and Dean's mom and dad, and it's going to be Jensen Ackles. Dean is going to narrate the story. And,
of his dad.
Yeah, of his dad. Like he's, I don't know if he's reading a memoir or however
that would. My only, I mean, that sounds cool, but my, I guess my drawback on that is we've seen literally everything on Supernatural. What are they going to bring that we don't?
Oh, they'll rehash it. It'll be rehashed. They'll have different characters interacting with it.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be on for at least 5 seasons.
We think so.
I think so. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Like I said, the fan base for that show is rabid.
Do you know what I'm at now with that? Another show that I think is just I don't care anymore is The Boys. I don't care.
I'm good for one more season, I think.
Okay.
I'm good for one more. I want to see where they go.
Yeah.
But that's another one that's not going to be long lived. I mean, they're going to do it'll be like 3 and out, maybe 4.
Yeah. I think the problem is when you have a show that is that in your face in the first season, you have to top it by being more in your face. And that's when people will lose me is when I'm like, okay, now people's heads are going like, what are we doing?
It's
like,
too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Understandable. So I had Fringe, and then I had all hospital dramas. Like all.
You're right.
I am just
shocked that Grey's Anatomy is still going on.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and we've talked about my like just done, like when they killed a kid on that show, and it was like a whole season of them killing kids, and I was done. But we watched Grey's Anatomy, we watched ER, we watched what was Private Practice, I think was the spinoff from Grey's.
I actually like Private Practice.
And we watched all those, and then I was like, I'm so done with these. Even Scrubs. Like if you try to binge,
you're right.
Scrubs, and I actually tried. I'm like, Scrubs was a great show.
Yes, it was good.
Lots of silliness in it.
Timing,
I loved it. When you watch that show and you binge it, there is a dramatic death in every episode.
Oh, is it really?
It really is. Like there's some kind of loss, or someone's dead, or someone's refusing treatment, or in every episode, and you're like, there's a heavy part in every one. Wow. So yeah, I stopped watching that. Mary's all over the place tonight. Thanks for listening, Mary. She said she couldn't get into Sons of Anarchy. Me neither. Like, and you know what? Haven't tried.
Hey, is this my sister-in-law, Mary?
No, it's my cousin Mary.
Okay, all right.
Cousin Mary from my dad's side.
Okay. What'd you say?
She couldn't get into Sons of Anarchy.
That's another one I've heard that you should watch, and I just can't get into it. The Shield as well. The Shield with what was it?
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, sorry.
We're going into another category here.
Okay, sorry.
Because 10, which is our last, is the show that is the best show you haven't watched. So So
I guess that would be Sons of Anarchy.
That's on the list. I've got Mad Men.
I haven't watched that either.
I think I watched 2 episodes.
The Sopranos.
For some reason.
Well, no, that's not true. I've watched The Sopranos, but I didn't get into it. So it has to be something we haven't watched.
Yep, I'm gonna say that you haven't even tried. Like people say it's a great show. Like it's won awards.
Mad Men for sure. Mad Men for sure.
For me. Squid Game, big show last year. Didn't touch it. Like
nor I. Yep.
Haven't gotten into it. The one that's been around for a long time and I just haven't watched, The Wire.
Oh yeah. No, I can't say that. I've watched 3 episodes. I've watched 3 episodes. And I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, couldn't.
So I guess that goes on my list of people.
Yeah, something that just didn't hook you. Yeah, like
I've heard that. I've heard that is that's like top 3 of the best TV shows of all time.
Yeah, I've heard that too, and I have access to it.
Yeah,
and there's been enough times where Chris and I are like, we're kind of done with that show. Yeah. This one isn't out yet. What do you want to watch? Where we could watch The Wire, nowhere on my radar do I go, ooh, you know what we should watch.
You know a show that made me not watch, that I lost interest in the middle of the season was the recent one with the Like it felt very Lovecraft Country or
Oh, Lovecraft Country. Yeah, that's on HBO.
yeah, I got like I think
Yeah,
I had
I
like
could
3 episodes left and I was like, I don't care anymore.
I could see that. I could see that. That it got weird for sure. But
Yeah,
it's but Lovecraft is weird. So
the last one was the one where he was like back in Japan and he fell in love with a fox lady or something like that.
Yep, that was weird.
Just didn't care to put it back on ever again.
And then you didn't see the did you? Oh, maybe you did the twin demon girls.
Oh no. Okay.
So, oh my God, probably the most terrifying imagery that I've seen in the past 5 years.
No kidding.
No kidding. Like they will haunt you. It
Okay.
is.
I'll stay out of that.
Oh my God, it like literally shivers down my spine. Kind of weird. And really, it's not. It's all about the environment, the music, and then the way these two actresses were just moving. And they did their makeup kind of weird. And like, you're looking at their mouth, you're like, do they have fangs? Do they not have fangs? What's up with their mouth? It's totally, and I'm getting goosebumps just talking about this.
Okay. Shit. All right.
But they're going after the main character's niece, who's like a middle school age girl. They're haunting her. And so she's the only one that can see them, and the way they move. I think the actresses were dancers.
Okay.
And just the way they were like moving in and out of the crowd, just creepy as fuck. And you're just like, oh my God, what? It's like literally couldn't turn away.
Like those.
But you're watching it like, oh my God, I don't want to. Yeah, it was. That alone is, I think, worth the last 3 episodes for you to just go back and watch, or even just look them up.
Oh, so you want me to share in your horror?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
So Mary says Wentworth. What is Wentworth? Wentworth is my favorite show.
Oh, that is that's a prison. Is that a women's prison movie or show? Is she saying yes?
She has not responded yet. I haven't even heard of that show.
Yeah, I've heard of it. It's a women's prison. I believe I think it's like in London.
Oh yeah, look at that. Wentworth TV series. Because that's all we're talking about. Oh yep, women's prison. Who is in this thing?
I think is it British?
Is
it British, Greg?
Well, you know what? IMDb doesn't say it's a British show. It just says it's a show. Looking at the actors and actresses, I'm going to say yes, it is.
Yeah, okay.
It's British. And all, yeah, okay. Some of the scenes, all the guards.
Mary's giving that a thumbs up.
Australian.
It's Australian.
Well, close enough.
Makes sense.
I mean,
that makes sense.
They were colonized.
Australian. Well, good day, mate.
You know, good one. A great Australian show that's on Amazon Prime right now is Firebite. If you like vampire shows,
okay,
it's almost, it's like almost low budget. I don't know what Australian shows consider to be low budget, but by American standards, you're gonna watch this and be like, this is kind of low budget, but it's fun. It's a fun show.
Okay. Hey, another show for you that people I keep trying to get you on is that God, what's that show? Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, you can't get it. Yeah, you can't get it.
I don't do the Showtime thing, but if anybody wants to share with me their login and password for Showtime, I will watch it. Another one that we just started on HBO Max that is finished, like they're not making anymore, is Pennyworth.
It's good or it's not good?
It's very good. Very good. I would give it, some episodes are hard R, some are more PG-13, but it's a post World War II Alfred Pennyworth who becomes Bruce Wayne's butler or the butler of Wayne Manor. And he was a SAS, the British, it's like
Special Air Servicemen or something like that.
It's like Navy SEALs for the Brits in World War II. And so he's trying to open a securities business while also being a bouncer at a bar, or at a nightclub, I should say. It's cool. Yeah. It's very cool. Very cool. Very good.
Well, it goes back to like you and I are Batman fans. So, and I think you and I also share the mystery of Alfred Pennyworth.
Yeah.
I remember sitting there like, he's actually a badass. He can actually do that. And they're like, no, he can't. I'm like, no, he can.
Well, and like they never portrayed him that way
Right.
in really any of the films.
No, they haven't.
Like Jason Isaacs was probably the closest they got to like maybe he knows. Actually, you know what? No, in Gotham, the TV series.
Yes.
Which is another one that I just never really watched.
I watched the first season, didn't get into it after that.
Yep. They allude to the idea that Alfred had some skills.
Yes.
And then I think in the new Batman coming up, we're going to see Alfred having
I think you're right.
Having some skills, some combat tactics.
Yeah.
So
some nunchuck skills.
Maybe.
Bow
staff skills. Okay.
Liger. He's like my most favorite animal.
Well, with that.
Yes.
I'm out. That's
I think we are out. It's past 10. We've gone already 11 minutes over.
Fine, go. You stayed your hour.
Yeah. So Greg, sign us out.
Okay. Well, it is a week to be had. It's finally, I'm on countdown to vacation. So we're going to talk about that probably after the show. So as you're going through your week, check your sources, know where you're getting your information from, know your audience, like communicate with people the way they like to be communicated with, especially if you're trying to prove a point. And as you're trying to prove that point, just don't be a douche.
Yeah. So for the Greg, this is Johnny saying, do it in Middle Earth. We'll see you later. Take care. Podcast out.
Bye, guys.